Why was Doge not able to do this?
What I just did was kind of more of a decentralized Doge effort in a way where I went about it and did it in a way where people could just go ahead and see it. And I think Doge, because they're with the government, I bet they'd have a harder time to kind of go out and produce something like this. And I think that's why you see Elon Musk giving me so much support right now, because what I'm doing was kind of like the effort of Doge, but to a decentralized way where people can see it. Because Doge, they have all the contracts, and they went and they did cut a lot of the funding, and they did get down to a lot of what was happening. But they saw so much pushback from the public and from the left that they weren't able to go about and make all the changes that they wished they could.
So what rules are out there to prevent abuse?
Yeah, I don't exactly know what rules they have for abuse, but if Elon Musk can't figure it out, it just shows how many guardrails there are.
If you were to then solve this issue, what do you think would be the best solution to prevent something like this from happening?
And what would a paper trail look like?
Yeah, I think now, because of the video, now all of these companies have to prove that they are legit businesses before they receive their funding. All their payments are frozen right now in Minnesota. So if Minnesota actually cared about stopping the fraud like Tim Walz has been saying for 6 years, what I would have done is I would have done surprise visits. And I would have not notified them when I'm coming, but more so done a surprise visit and say, hey, we're government officials. We just want to see how your business is operating. Okay, if you're licensed for 40 children and you have 35 kids here, perfect. But if you're licensed for 40 children and you have 4 kids here and we're giving you $1 million, we should probably look into this and figure out why this is happening.
It seems like it would be very easy to solve on a high level without even doing that by just looking how many centers are operating, how many children do they say are within those schools, and how many children exist in the area. And if you see, hey, there's 3,000 children in this area, but their capacity is 40,000 that we're paying for, then maybe that's a red flag.
Yeah, it's a total red flag for a lot of these businesses. And if you drive around Minneapolis, you'll notice, if you start paying attention, you'll notice, wait, why does that industrialized building have a child care clinic? Or why is there an adult daycare right here? And why is there Somali daycare right here? Like legit, like why is there African refugee immigration processes? Or why is there Eritrean services? Like all this weird stuff. What's the need for all that? Like me and you, us three, we all operate a business, whether it be a YouTube channel or selling coffee, selling t-shirts. We have to work and profit. These guys don't have to even conceptualize the idea of turning a profit because they're receiving all this money. And so it's not fair to the hardworking American who is trying to provide for their family, go to work, and then pay normal daycare rates.
So is this just Minnesota, or is it like we're driving around in Vegas and I see a daycare? Is it like, is there a chance, hey, it's everywhere throughout the United States?
Fraud is everywhere in the United States. And now you're seeing all these other people go to these daycares because a lot of them receive money on welfare purposes. And so, all that information is public. And so you can go ahead and find that information. And if you're suspicious of a local daycare in your area, you could go get the information, or you could just simply go and ask like, hey, is this guy enroll a child into daycare here? And see it for yourself. But I don't want everyone to start going to daycares and saying, where are the children?
Yeah.
I think that would be bad.
I started seeing a lot of copycats now going and doing this.
And so what's hard about that is I actually did my due diligence when I went and made my video. You don't want to see just a bunch of people hopping up to daycares and saying, where are the children? But people also have the right to just simply ask the question. You have houses in Washington State that are legit houses that are licensed for adult daycares or for child cares inside of neighborhoods that you wouldn't even know.
See, what I worry about when it comes to copycats is that you have most people who go in with good intentions, who say, hey, I see this upsets me, I want to help. And then you get people who just take it too far. And that's all it takes is you get one person who just starts like absolutely harassing somebody. Maybe it's a legitimate daycare, takes it too far, and it kind of ruins it for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, people can do what they want. My job is to do my job. And so like the way I carry about myself is in a way that I can feel good about sleeping at night. If somebody wants to go harass a daycare, we can't stop them from doing it. And it's bad on them for doing it. They should do their due diligence and figure out if it's a fraudulent daycare or not before they show up.
Who reached out to you from the video?
Oh, everybody. Like I can't even respond to somebody then get back to the text message after because it's 10 people deep within 5 minutes. But on the internet, JD Vance, he republished the video. Elon Musk, the Attorney General of the United States, the Director of the FBI, so many people. That's just think about that. That's the richest man in the world, the second most powerful man in the world, the Attorney General of the United States, and the Director of the FBI. They all had to come out and talk about that video.
Did the governor of Minnesota reach out to you?
No, he actually blamed the fraud on Trump.
And what did he say Trump did?
He said, well, Trump keeps letting fraudsters out of prison, and he blamed and deflected everything. He actually called me a white supremacist. He called anybody who's speaking out against the fraud white supremacist.
And what's your response to that?
I'm not. And fraud is fraud. And Tim Walz.
But here's the thing. That's exactly what a white supremacist would say.
Yeah.
Well,
just like the daycares would say, well, we're not fraud. You would say, well, I'm not.
Well, I'm not a white supremacist, all right? Tim Walz, he is so scared to be called a racist and for speaking facts that he's allowed billions of dollars to be sent overseas and fund terrorists like the Al-Shabaab. So Tim Walz is a coward.
And what's the benefit to Tim Walz?
The benefit to Tim Walz, he gets votes. When you have 100,000 people that will all go and vote for you, that's a huge percentage of the people that will vote. And this happens in Europe as well. And this is why you're seeing the rise of Islam inside of these countries like the UK. And that's why you see the Labour Party in the UK, for instance, they're so powerful, and you're seeing so many Muslims be elected in Europe because they come into the country, they then go to their mosque, and then when a politician needs the votes, he'll go to the mosque where they have 1,000 people inside the community. All right, we're gonna, and then they say, well, we're gonna let you vote, or we're gonna say, and then they say, well, we're gonna do what you guys want. We're gonna make sure you guys are protected, which they already are, especially in the United States. We have the Constitution. So, but in these other places, then when it comes time to vote, the mosque, the people that run the mosque will then take everyone and go vote. And in Minnesota right now, you can vote. You can vouch for 8 people when you go and vote.
What does that even mean?
Yeah, so one person can vouch for 8 people.
And how do you prove that you've been vouched for?
Yeah, so if you're living inside of the same community or I believe like organization, you can then vouch for the other 8 people. If you can provide that, show their documentation or that just their license. And you don't need to be a legal citizen to receive a license in the United States and a lot of states.
Are you concerned at all, though, when you're speaking in broad terms of like these communities do this, these communities do that, that somehow when that gets diluted over and over, eventually it's going to turn people, hateful towards a certain group of people, that like eventually, people are going to be actually Islamophobic?
No, because I'm just showing people for what it is. If 89% of the population is committing the fraud in Minnesota, yeah, you might piss off a lot of people. If everyone's paying taxes and then 81% of that population's on welfare receiving your dollars while they're committing 89% of the fraud receiving millions of dollars, yeah, you're going to piss off a lot of people.
Some would make the argument that the fraud in Minnesota is only a fraction of a percent compared to something like the pandemic unemployment fraud, which was somewhere in like $100+ billion.
People should be equally mad about that. But with that, you can't go and see it. For instance, in Minnesota, they had Feeding Our Future. They received $250 million to feed children inside Minnesota, and they only ended up feeding 40 children.